All right, guys, welcome back. Jordan Stanley Payne here. I am joined by Harper and Hunter. How are you guys?
What's going on?
Doing well.
So I don't know about you guys over in Tennessee, but it's cold as shit in Montana. Last week we got 12 inches of snow, which was it was 73 degrees. Woke up to 12 inches of snow, so I'm just trying to stay warm. I got my winter beard going.
Yeah, it's actually freezing here too. Just dropped down to 68 this week, so we put on our jackets and everything.
That's bullshit, dude. Bullshit. So yeah, I really just wanted to hear a little bit of you guys' story. Harper, you've been in the kingdom a little bit longer than Hunter, but you guys have been around for a little while. Probably the first question I normally like to ask people, and you guys' story might be a little bit different. You guys started pursuing real estate. You guys were both in college, right?
So I had started out in college. He was fresh out. He got a taste of the corporate world, and he said, "Screw this." So.
Mm-hmm. So what was,
I started first, and I saw how that was going and quit my job and came back to do real estate.
So he was a bad influence on you.
He was a bad influence.
So Harper, I guess let me ask you. So you were in college. Did you hear about real estate in college? Like what was appealing about that rather than maybe what you were going to college for?
Yeah, sure. So I was going to college for at the time, like analytics, finance, stuff like that. I did graduate, right? So, but when I guess I was like a sophomore in college, and I was playing the sport ultimate frisbee, and I was trying to pitch this guy and building him a website because I understood like the basics of building the website. So I was trying to make a couple thousand here and there, and he was doing wholesaling, just flipping contracts, double closing and assignment of contracts. And I thought that was really interesting, just that, facet of real estate and how you could do stuff with little money. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and you still got to have some money for marketing and whatnot, understand what's going on. But you could get into it and kind of learn real estate that way and venture into other aspects of it. So that was appealing to me because you could invest, maybe a couple thousand in marketing and some stuff. Maybe a little bit of mentorship or something like the kingdom, right? Invest, some money in your education. And then that leads you to, after you put in the work, you can start, making some checks, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 40,000. And after you do that, you're starting to open up your eyes and you get more comfortable without taking a ton of risk. You get comfortable in real estate, and maybe you venture out and own your, own real estate, or you partner with someone or whatnot, and you kind of build relationships that way. So I guess the question was, how did it interest me? I just see that, there's different things you could do, and real estate can be very flexible. And I guess I haven't even mentioned like the other benefits like cash flow and tax benefits and stuff. So I'll keep it, I guess, there, and I can let Hunter kind of, answer what he thinks. The question.
Yeah, I mean, my interest definitely stemmed from a different start than Harper because I kind of came on to what Harper was doing to help out with the scaling of the company. But yeah, I mean, it definitely gives you a more freedom if you set it up that way. You can put in the hard work now and get the checks for a long time coming. Yeah. So that interests me a lot, and tax benefits a lot to me. I'll pay less taxes this year than I've ever paid before, which is just mind blowing to me.
Well, I mean, like Kiyosaki says, like the rich don't pay taxes. Like there's like that continuous debate. I always see it online about freaking rich people, like blah blah blah. Well, it's set up that way, and fortunately for people like us, if you understand how to play the game, it's a huge. And like nobody understands this, but like on my taxes this year, like it showed I lost 60 grand, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you in financial duress?" No, that's a good thing. Like that's exactly what you want.
You're broke.
Our bankers don't understand it, but
yeah, bankers, that is tricky sometimes with the banks. Yeah.
But I mean that for sure, that's how you play the game. I've got friends of mine that I went to school with that are doctors and lawyers, and they're writing 50, 60, even $100,000 checks for taxes. And I'm like, cool, good for you guys.
Not for me.
So, Hunter, when you came on board, you guys were primarily just wholesaling. You hadn't jumped into buy and hold yet, had you?
Harper had what do you have, like 13 units at the time.
Yeah.
They got some good deals on. But no, it was more wholesaling when I came on board. And then we started buying some multifamilies, some bigger ones, some smaller ones. And so for the past year, we've bought, I don't know how many multis we bought. We've sold some. I'd say we've bought close to 100 units in the past year, sold off some of them. We currently hold about 68 units.
Nice.
Most of those traditional buying through syndications.
So, I mean, you guys haven't been doing this like 10 plus years. I mean, Harper, how long have you been in real estate?
Around 3 years.
Around 3.
Yeah.
Hunter, 2.5.
I was in banking before, so I understood a lot of the mortgage side of things, but just 1.5 years for me.
Nice. I've got you beat, but not by much. Not by much. We just surpassed our 6th year, which was a cool little accomplishment. So let's fast forward a little bit maybe here. So between a 1.5 years and 3 years, you guys have been doing this. You've held up to 100 units, and you guys were just saying that you guys have done about 50 wholesales. There's this element of belief that people go through when they do their first deal, and now it's real, now it's possible. Either one of you guys can answer this, but what did it look like going from maybe that first deal to the point where, fast forwarding to like the 50 deal mark and like the units you guys have held? Like, was it a pretty quick process once you'd done that first one, or?
Well, it changes your confidence. So once you kind of get that confidence in doing the deal, then, things really change, internally and externally. But the process, at least for me, I mean, it took a few months to get the first deal, ended up, buying and reselling this house, wholesaling it, and made like $3,000 or so, which recouped our investment of a couple thousand in marketing and stuff. But after that, we had a few more deals, one of which we wholesaled a 9-unit and made $50,000, $51,000 on it profit. And so for me, I'm looking at that. I've never seen a check that big, and half that I was, entitled to, right? I earned it. And then so after that, I was like, okay, you can do some cool things with real estate. And the thing is, we helped the seller, we helped the buyer, and then we, got help for doing that. So it just kind of opens up your mind, and the process takes time to get there. I've seen people do deals very quickly. I've seen people take months, but I mean, once you get to doing the first deal, I think things start to really change.
And it's a matter of scalability too. I mean, like you said, you recouped some of your money, then, down the line a little bit, you had, like quite a bit bigger. I know enough about you guys to know that you guys have been investing a lot of your profits back into systems and process and procedure and really streamlining it, which is, not everybody does that, to be honest with you,
So we don't pull a ton of money out. We'd rather put it back in. We know that'll be worth 10 times that by putting it back into real estate or the company.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit on the buy and hold side. I know we said we weren't quite going to mention this part of it, but you guys have understood some things that probably a lot of other people, it takes them 10, 15, 20 years to understand. But you guys are really playing to the market strength right now. Markets fluctuate up and down. I told you guys a minute ago, like our market almost tripled. And that's a huge lever for people that understand how to play the game, which I believe you guys do. You guys were talking about one property that you bought for a couple million, 2 million,
Yeah.
2 million.
Yeah. So we have currently are holding active rentals, a 6-unit, a 7-unit, 35-unit, and a 20-unit, which totals 68. So with those, we see the market's, really hot. We bought the 35 last year, the 6-unit and 7-unit last year, and the 20-unit we just bought a little over a month ago. The 20-unit we bought for $850,000. We got a good deal. We have some value add, could put money into it, but with putting barely, let's say we put in 25 to 30 grand and raise some rents in some time. Well, we have a verbal offer, and they're ready to sign the PSA after they do on the 35-unit at 1.1 million. So I'm like, okay, if you buy 850 and they're willing to pay 1.1, even with the broker involved, say there's other expenses and stuff. I mean, that's just something you can't really say no to sometimes, right? Depending on your plan. But, once again, getting in the game, you have to get in the game to be able to have people and have the real estate for people to come in and be able to, buy it from you. You got to have it first. Same with the 35, we bought for 2 million last November. So a little over a year ago, and we'll probably close before year end, and it's going to be north of, 2.5, be 2.65 range right in there, 2.6, 2.65. So we'll go to contract next day or two. And we're very confident with buyers, a broker involved and stuff. So it's hard to say no to, right? And you got to, not get greedy and say, I think I could get more, or we could sell this for more in a few years. I'm like, well, you got to look at the big picture. There's, markets and life is cyclical, right? So you got to look at all aspects. And sometimes it's good to take a bird in the hand rather than two in the bush.
Well, we can't predict what's going to happen 2 years from now. It might be worth half of what you paid 2 years from now. It's a little bit rare, but for anybody for anybody that watches the replay, I need all of you guys to understand this. Playing the game gives you options. These guys don't have to sell. These are cash flowing assets.
All the buyers. I tell them, I said, I don't have to sell this, and because I want them to know, like, I'm not just going to bend over for a credit or something.
Right.
So it's just a It's just a capital play, so we can put the money into something else.
Absolutely, and that's going to tie into probably my next question here in a minute. But guys, for anybody watching this, weeks from now or whatever, I mean, guys, when you play the game and when you have, I like to refer to it as like you're playing poker. When you have a hand in front of you, you can make decisions. Well, those are decisions that people that aren't playing the game just don't have. These guys are talking about, a little bit of, getting out of about 50 some odd units, maybe 60, but they're also looking at, almost $1 million in revenue that they're generating from buying those. And you guys have used creative financing, and you guys have done some syndication, private money funds to raise this. So it's not like you guys, went and worked at Starbucks for 50 years to come up with a down payment. Like, you guys were pretty creative on these deals.
Yeah, we always put money into deals because investors like to see skin in the game, and we got to put our money somewhere. It's good to put them into high yield assets. But yeah, we syndicate pretty much everything we do. We have a whole list of private money, which is a whole nother story. But that allows us to do whatever comes our way. We can get creative with it.
So you guys are shuffling the deck a little bit, like I like to call it, pulling some money out, kind of moving some stuff around. What's the next big thing for you guys? Like 12 months from now, are you guys trying to build up the portfolio? Or are you guys trying to play heavier on the wholesale side? What are you guys hoping to do?
I'd say with the rentals, we're going to sit a little bit on the side just to kind of see where things go. I'm seeing people pay prices for stuff that makes no sense to me. So maybe this continues forever, but I don't think it will. So if a really, really good deal comes up, I'm not opposed to buying it. I mean, we're putting a LOI in on a 42 unit this week. So we're still putting offers on stuff, but it's for less than what somebody else would pay for it. I would say our next goal is to scale up the wholesaling more, to generate short-term capital, to be able to take the jump to go into something when something comes up. It's also lower risk, with these apartments, not everything's creative. We're doing traditional financing. So having millions of dollars of debt on your name, it gets a little scary sometimes if something goes the other way. So being able to just do wholesaling is a lot less risky in the short term. So that's a big focus of ours, I would say. I don't know if you want to add anything to it.
Yeah, no, I think that, we decided we're going to exit the rental as long as we can get the right numbers, which we're north of those numbers. So sell those, take a few months, and just focus on wholesaling, building that out where there's little or no risk, and we can kind of take a step back, think a lot, analyze different things, and then reevaluate about going back in. Once again, not saying we're closed-minded to deals and whatnot, but we are looking more so at having some more liquidity. So it's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. So
for sure. And I mean, and to be honest with you, it takes a little bit of pressure off. When we talked about this a minute ago, when you don't have to sell them, they're cash flowing, but you'll sell them for the right price, which gives you more options and more leverage to pull. Like that's a power play, guys.
Yeah.
One that I'm currently doing myself. So we're on the same page. I mean, I have a better beard, but we're on the same page
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I don't have
It's coming in. It's coming in. Well, well, guys, I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but I like to ask people, because a lot of people that watch these videos are either considering getting into real estate or considering joining the Kingdom or a group like the Kingdom. What would you say to somebody considering joining the Kingdom or getting involved in the game?
Maybe you want to take it first.
Yeah, I would say, the Kingdom is a very low barrier entry. It is, a great place to get involved. There's a lot of people doing deals, as you can see from these videos. In there, there's a lot of people willing to help. If I see something, I'm happy to comment on it, or, message somebody about it. And you gotta be willing to pay for, education. And the Kingdom is a really great place to start with that, and to meet people doing stuff. And there's higher levels inside there if you want to go more. But there's just so much in there with the video content, and the people in there is probably the biggest part. We've gotten to meet lots of great people that we'll call up, and we've befriended from the group.
Yeah, there's a lot of great content and education on different aspects of real estate in there, which is great. Like you said, it's a lower barrier to entry. A lot of these programs are 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 grand. And not that they don't add value. A lot of them are not worth that for sure. And you know that because you've actually bought through some of the programs just to see. So, some of them are great. I'm not saying they aren't, but, what if you turn around and you spend, 10, 20, 50K and you say, yeah, this isn't for me. It's like, well, why don't you start somewhere, get around people that are actually doing it, which there's plenty of people in the Kingdom actually doing deals, and they're not these gurus, right? And so that's what's really great about getting in there, and say, hey, you get in there and it's for you. Or maybe you guys mention some things. I hop on calls. I didn't think about that. Maybe I want to go this way with real estate instead of this because I was never exposed. Or maybe there's some people, hey, this isn't for me, and that's great. And you were able to do that, but you still met people in there and you have great relationships. And for me, I'm huge on relationships and networking. I met a ton of people through there, right? I mean, there's hundreds of people you could talk to in your market, out of your market. And, then it's up to you to build the relationships from there, right? So.
Sure. And probably one of the unique things I think about the Kingdom, I mean, you can pay, like you guys just said, you can pay 10 grand for like a wholesaling curriculum or a mentorship, just only to come to find out that you really don't like wholesaling. Maybe you're more like into the notes or the fix and flip or the buy and hold. Kingdom's got kind of a little bit of everything. It's kind of like a smorgasbord where you can try something and talk to people that are doing it and watch some content on it, and take a little bit of action on it and say, is this for me or not? And if not, there's other things that you can pursue, and there's people that you can talk to doing it for sure.
Yeah, if it is, then you guys can offer one-on-one or other programs you have, right, to dive into the specifics of things, So that's what's cool. You got the flexibility.
For sure. Well, guys, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for taking some time. I know you guys are both strapping young men that are busy over in Knoxville. So I appreciate it.
I have to go buy a jacket. It's getting cold. I think it gets below 60 here soon.
Does it? I legitimately don't know. Does it get cold over there?
It'll get below freezing. Like it'll get, late teens, 20s, maybe a handful of times a year. That's it.
There's like one week it'll get like in the teens, and that's the 1 week we worry about pipes busting because things aren't buried very deep here.
Oh yeah.
But it'll stay around most of the year, or most of the winter, 30s to 40s. I would say it's not going to get much below freezing.
Yeah, we stay in the 0 degrees to like 20 degrees most of the winter, and then sometimes it's 20 below, and like we anticipate for that. We're like, all right, everything's gonna freeze, have everybody ready, but you don't want to work when it's 20 below, man. I mean, like I think that's probably why I buy and hold primarily and have a crew of people.
So I don't know what that's like.
But I mean, and this is completely off topic, but we've insulated with like the crazy like R20 or R30 insulation, like all of our crawl spaces. We have like specific furnaces down there, and even with that, it'll still freeze.
Yeah.
What do you do? It's part of the game. But guys, I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to cut the recording here and probably link up here pretty soon.
Yep, sounds great.
Yeah.